I want to solve this rational inequality. I'm going to start the way I start with all of these problems. I'm going to make sure that I have a 0 on the right-hand side, and then I'm going to make sure that I have a single quotient on the left-hand side. Getting that 0 on the right is not difficult. I just subtract x from both sides. And getting a single fraction on the left, that's pretty doable too. What I'm going to do is get a common denominator, x, and I'm going to rewrite that x as x squared divided by x. And then I can rewrite as a single quotient. 4 minus x squared divided by x is less than 0. Next, I want to make sure everything's factored out completely, just because it makes it easier on my brain. 4 minus x squared factors into two linear factors, 2 minus x and 2 plus x. Next, we're going to draw the real number line and mark all of the roots of both the numerator and the denominator. Just mark all three of them on this real number line. We get 4 different sections of real numbers that we have to test. We have to figure out if that fraction is going to be positive or negative on those 4 sections. And if you like, you can always pick test values in between the roots. You don't want to pick negative 2, 0, and 2. You want to pick numbers in between, like 1 or negative 1. You put those test values into that fraction and see if you get a positive or negative. What I'm going to do is just look at the factors directly and decide if I'm going to get positive or negative. So to get started, let's start with big numbers. 3, 4, 5, 6, all the numbers bigger than 2. 2 minus x will always be negative on that whole section, but the other 2 factors will be positive. And so what I get is negative times positive over positive, which overall is negative. In between 0 and 2, I can tell that all 3 factors, all 3 pieces are going to be positive, so my overall result is positive. Between negative 2 and 0, the denominator becomes negative, but the 2 factors on top are still positive, so my overall result is negative. And finally, below negative 2, I get positive times negative over negative. So I mark the 4 sections with whether the rational expression overall is going to be positive or negative. Now the problem says we need the sections where the rational expression is negative, which means I want the second section and the 4th section as my solutions. Finally, the last step is taking a look at positive 2, negative 2, and 0 and asking if they should count. Should plus or minus 2 count? If you plug them in, you find out that the fraction is equal to 0 at both of those numbers. Because of the strict inequality, because it says less than and not less than or equal to, no, we do not want those 2 numbers to count. Second, should 0 count? Absolutely not, because the rational expression is totally undefined. You can't have undefined less than 0. That just doesn't make any sense. So we don't want that to count either. And so I need to write my solution in interval notation. It's negative 2 to 0, parentheses, union with 2 to infinity.